Hi everyone. Good morning, good evening, good night. So I hope you're ready to begin with the thymus. Yes, this here. So I hope the task that I gave you yesterday was good, and these are not things that you should do day by day. These are things that that I am just giving to you so you could work it at any time, not just day by day, but any day. So today we are going to talk about the thymus, and this gland, we usually relate this gland with the high heart chakra, so also related with the unconditional love. What I was about to say is that we usually relate this gland with the unconditional love, but this unconditional love is just not all the time. This is just when you are ready to love unconditionally. So what we have to speak about is the purpose of this center before you get to unconditional love. One of the things that that we usually hear about this chakra is that if you love unconditionally everything in the world, you will feel balanced, you will feel the love of everything. But the truth is that in order to get into that love, into feel that unconditionally aspect of it, you need to go through a long process. You need to go through the understanding of what is happening within here. So in order to do that, we need to understand the purpose of this gland where that chakra is anchored, is manifested. We usually, when we talk about the chakras and the goals and purposes of the chakras, we usually think about the spiritual concepts, the energetical concepts, that they are way away from ourselves in an invisible aspect of our reality, but we are in the physical one. So we need to relate the purpose of those chakras to the glands, which are the things that we can touch that made us be what we are. So this is very important to understand the biology that anchors the spirit. We need to understand that this unconditional love will come to us at the moment when we achieve to transcend all the goals and purposes of the thymus. This gland has two different tasks along our way. The first one is from the very moment when we are being created in the womb of our mother until when we become teenagers, and the other one is from being teenager till we are dead. So the most important task of this gland is in the very first stage, of our growth, which is related to the creation. This gland, the thymus, has the goal to create the cells that we will call the immunological system. This gland is the one that we can relate with the defense. It defends us from the bacteria, virus, all the illnesses around, from everything that can come inside and make us harm or try to kill us. This gland, when we speak about this gland, we must understand that the thymus is the one that protects the life, protects us from everything. So this is the first thing that we need to get to understand the goal of this gland before the unconditional love. One of the things that we need to aware about this gland is that in order to reach unconditional love, we need to understand that this gland, the one related to unconditional love, is the one putting limits and conditions to our body so we don't get ill, so we could be protected from the outside. So this gland is the one that is protecting us constantly, kind of the opposite to what is unconditional love. But this is why, in order to reach unconditional love, we need to understand each part of the conditions that we have within, to understand the limitations that our body has set for ourselves, helps us to understand our own limitations in the world. This is why one of the things that I was writing today is that at the moment when we feel that someone or something is going to invade our body, we usually make this position. This gland, the thymus, is the one protecting the heart. So that's why we do exactly the same when we want to protect ourselves. So physically, in biology, this gland creates the immunological system. So it is trying to protect us from the viruses and the bacteria. But also energetically, is the gland that is helping us to protect ourselves from people, from situations, from things that we don't like. And that this is why also when we feel that someone is going to harm us, we feel like something in the heart, like something, a pressure. When a person received a lot of attacks from the outside and had a difficult life, what we usually do is to protect this and your position, start to bend the shoulders like this, and you go and protect this part here. When some people have received some abuse from some people or whatever, they usually bend the body and they start to feel like closed. And some of the other positions is when you do like this, because it's like the thymus is going to fight against something. So it's people that wants to fight. This is also a bad thing, because it usually makes us believe that everything that comes from the outside would harm us, wants to kill us or whatever. So we are waiting constantly for a fight. One of the things that this place, this center represents too, is the conflict of the lack of love. Because when you are not able to recognize the strength of yourself, when you don't recognize that you can protect yourself from anything, is because you are not able to expand yourself, to love yourself. This is a conflict for the whole humanity, because we as humanity had been facing the conflict of one another, fighting each other, and this is why we have this problem here. It's like something from humanity, not from specific people. Picture this, that along our whole life, what the thymus has done for us was to try to protect us from the others, from other people. This thing that of the thymus made us feel that we must fear others and we cannot trust the others. So try to think about now that through all the history between nations, countries, families, everyone was having fear of others because they were trusting. They had no idea if they were able to trust the others. And this is something that we anchor in the thymus. So we start to have prejudgments of the others and to separate myself from the others. So picture that this is exactly the opposite to unconditional love. So how do I achieve the unconditional love? The way I achieve to get unconditional love is when I realize that everything that exists is just a projection of myself. When I realize that everything that I have outside is just something I needed to understand. And when I get to understand that, set myself free from the judgment, set myself free from the fear. And when you set yourself free from fear, suddenly you don't need to protect yourself from anyone. and suddenly you accept the reality of everyone. So you transform your conditions into unconditionally. What is love? Love is the ability to transform yourself. And if I am able to transform myself by love, I will also allow the others with no conditions to transform themselves without fear. And that's what we call unconditional love. So as you see now, unconditional love is not just to love everything as equal. Unconditional love means that when I faced each one of my conditions inside, I understand the projections that I had made outside, so I allow myself to transform myself from those conditions, and I set free the others from those conditions, so I allow the others to transform themselves. And that's unconditional love. So the great mistake we have with love, with the concept of love, is that we think that love is to want, but love is to allow to transform. This is why it's so difficult to really love, because to love is to allow the other person to transform itself, not to become what I am expecting that person to be, what I want the other person to be. Want, allow. Two different concepts. So both of them are love. They are love anyway. But with consciousness, love is to set free, to allow. Something that we have inside of us is, as humans, is to believe that to love others is to have others. Because in our history as humans, we have fear we are afraid to lose the others, to lose other people. So that's why we want to have other people, to protect other people. But the real love, which is the most difficult thing to achieve, is to set the other free from everything. Watch the relation that it has with the thymus. I want to have the control of everything because the thymus is the one that controls the immunological system, the defense system of our body. So it must have control. So in order to allow myself to love and be loved, I need to relax the thymus and lose the control. Relax, lower my defenses. Don't be afraid. And this is why it's so difficult for humans, because we had a story, a history of trying to defend ourselves constantly from something. So that's why when the spiritual level says, release the control, they're not saying this control. They're talking about this control. Of course, the mind we used to believe that the control is in the mind. And of course, there is, but mostly the biological control is here in the thymus. So this is why one of the tasks that we have for today, for any other day, is to think about what is my posture, my position when I sit. Try to look in which position your body used to sit. If you sit like this, like this, like this, and to activate it just with these two fingers, I hit here. So whenever you feel that, you do it. So along all this year, we will have to work with unconditional love. In order to do so, to work with unconditional love, we need to realize about our own limits, conditions, and everything we have here. So I hope this is useful, and let's go to this. The vibration of today is C. It's not psi in English, it's C. So the statement for today is I am the path to balance, to equilibrium, balance, as you want. The code of today is a vibration WU, and it says, in the deepest of creation, the DNA of every being is the potential of the entire universe, just like a seed. Just like in a seed, there is the potential of the entire tree. Wu is the vibration that unites all the beings in the search, destiny, goals, purpose, that make us reencounter meditation, conscience, the inner imagination, giving us back to cosmos through death, towards eternity, the divine dream, reminding us like the dreamer itself. So remember, the vibration we are going to work with today is C. And Wu is the sound that we just activate around to have it in mind. So let's go to the alignment. Sit properly, comfortable, as you best. And we start doing a massage to our body. Caressing your body. I stretch the body, I yawn. I stretch the body, I yawn. Remember that while I massage and caress my body, I honor it, thank it for being the anchor of the spirit in the matter. And I start to relax the weight of my arms, my back. Take a deep breath and bring the oxygen through your nose to your lungs. Go with this oxygen to your heart, blood, organs, muscles, and the skin. Go with the oxygen through all your body. I just focus on my breathing. I just focus on my breathing. Become aware of how, with each breathing in and holding the air, I feel my body, organs, and brain even more relaxed. Deep breathing. I allow myself to feel the heat coming out of my body, filling up my aura, the magnetical field around my body. I recognize my body as a temple where the spirit, the I am, comes down and have it. And I feel all the energy around me as the light of the sun and the light of the moon on my walls. I allow myself to feel the fresh light of the moon from my soul and the warm light of the sun of the spirit. I take my hands and bring them to my chest, and I start making massage, caress, and recognize each part of my chest, below my arms, the sternum, ribs, the arms, and even the hands and fingers. I recognize this is all the extension of my heart. I recognize each one of the limits as if it is the first time that I touch each one of these parts. With my caresses and massage, I recognize it. I recognize that it's not only my heart, the chakra of my heart, that is important, but that this part of my body is the extension of the chakra that I can touch. I take my hands with my fingers, putting pressure up and down, once and again, through all my sternum, from the joint with the ribs below to the neck, the beginning of the neck, the clavicle. I become aware that below this bone there is the Glande Thymus, and by doing this massage I am activating this gland. I become aware that behind this gland I find the heart, and that around this gland and the heart I find my both lungs. I relax the arms softly to the sides. Take a deep breath and start to breathe the light of the sun, the spiritual sun, and the light of the moon, the soul, and feel them come inside your temple, through your cupola and your windows, your roses, which are your eyes. Feel the light come inside the temple with each breathing. Feel the most holy place of the temple, which is protected because it is the most sensitive, but also the strongest. I recognize that the walls of my chest are protecting the sacristy, the secret of my heart, from all these things that can't hurt in the outside. Take a moment to allow your mind to bring in front of you the images of those things that I believe they put my heart in risk. They hurt my heart. I take a deep breath, bringing all the light of the spirit and the soul inside of my body, inside of my heart. Take deep breath and use your sound to activate the light of the heart, irradiating outside, the light of the soul in pink, with the light of the spirit in light blue. Pronouncing the sound en tanto observo as I project this light, the pink light of my soul, the light blue light of my spirit, filling the space and shining in between and inside my apparent enemies. And I recognize that they are just shadows of my light, and I become aware that it's only me, the one capable to enlighten them, to end the shadows, to set them free from being it. All these enemies, these characters are just a projection of my incapacity of love myself. If I set them free from this point of view, from this condition, I set myself free. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And I put my intention to set myself free from this condition. So I take with my hands from the heart the pink light of my soul, giving compassion to my shadows. And from my light blue spiritual light, I give them forgiveness. I am the path to balance. I am the path to balance. For I am love, and I bring it. Breathe in. So softly, I start to spread the consciousness of this heart, from the heart, towards all my body, caressing it, massaging it, stretching, and I come back here and now, opening my eyes. Everyone fine? So, as always, I allow myself to assimilate this information by resting. See? So, rest, sleep well. So, remember which is your position when you sleep. So, you start to open this chakra through the physical. So, see you tomorrow for the plexus, which is the pancreas.